At 78, I finally told the truth nobody wants to hear. I am 78 years old. And if you believe the numbers, I'm living in the final chapter of my life. Almost every time I meet someone, at the grocery store, on the sidewalk, or even old friends I haven't seen in years, they ask me the same question. Not loudly. Not directly. Usually in a soft voice, with that look in their eyes, a mix of pity and concern. Henry, don't you want someone in your life? Isn't that house too big for just you? Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to share your mornings with? I understand why they ask. Because we've all been taught the same thing. That being alone means something is wrong with you. That happiness only exists when it's shared. That life isn't complete unless there's someone sitting across from you at the table. And 5 years ago I believed that too. The decision that changed everything. When I was 73, after hearing those questions again and again, I opened my door. I let someone into my life. And today, I'm going to tell you the truth that nobody talks about. Not at dinner parties. Not in family gatherings. Not even with close friends. I have never felt more exhausted, more anxious, more disconnected from myself than I did when I was in that relationship. But to understand that, I need to take you back a little further. Losing the love of my life. My wife, Margaret, passed away when I was 68. Cancer. It wasn't sudden. It was slow, painfully slow. 2 long years of hospital visits, sleepless nights, and holding her hand as she slowly faded away. When she was gone, the silence in the house wasn't just quiet. It was heavy. For the first year, I wasn't living, I was just existing. I would sit in her favorite chair for hours. Sometimes I'd turn on the television, and not even watch it. I felt like half of a person. But time does what time always does. It softens the pain. Finding peace in solitude. Little by little, I started building a routine. I'm a retired engineer, so structure has always been my comfort. I turned my garage into a small woodworking shop. Every morning at 5:30, I'd wake up, brew a pot of black coffee, and sit on my back porch. No phone. No news. No noise. Just the sound of birds, and the steam rising from my cup. It became my sanctuary. I started building things again, tables, shelves, even a small rocking chair. I fixed things around the house I had ignored for years. I read books I had promised myself I'd read decades ago. And by the time I turned 72, something surprising happened. I wasn't lonely. I was peaceful. Not overly happy. Not excited. But steady. Calm. Complete. The pressure to not be alone. But the world doesn't like to see an older man alone. My daughter, Emily, is a kind soul, but she worries. Every Sunday dinner, she'd look at me and say, "Dad, you're isolating yourself. Humans need connection. You can't live like this forever." Then came my neighbor, Mrs. Collins. One afternoon, while I was checking the mail, she stopped me and said, "I have the perfect person for you. Her name is Laura. She's lively, kind, and just your age. You two would be perfect." And when enough people tell you that something is missing in your life, you start to believe it. You look at your peace and mistake it for emptiness. So I agreed. The beginning of something new. I met Laura for coffee. And I'll admit, it was nice. She was full of energy. She laughed easily. She asked questions. She listened. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the old widower. I felt seen. We met again. And again. By the 4th month, we were officially together. My daughter was relieved. My neighbors were happy. Everyone said, "Good for you, Henry." And in the beginning it was good. We went out to dinners. Watched plays. Took short trips. For a moment, it felt like I had stepped back into a younger version of my life. The small things that changed everything. But then, reality crept in. Not in big, dramatic ways. In small, constant, exhausting ways. It started with the phone. Before Laura, my phone was just a tool. It stayed on the kitchen counter. I used it when necessary. With her it became something else. "Good morning. What are you doing? Why didn't you reply?" If I didn't respond quickly, she'd call. I found myself carrying my phone everywhere, even into the workshop. I'd be sanding a piece of wood, completely focused, completely at peace. And then, buzz, buzz, buzz. That quiet flow I loved so much, gone. Replaced by tension. When energy becomes limited. At 73, energy isn't endless. It's limited. Precious. And I had built my life around protecting it. Afternoons were my time to rest. To read. To breathe. But Laura was different. She wanted to go out, shopping, visiting places, hosting dinners. Always moving. Always doing something. And I tried. I really did. But every outing left me drained. My body ached. My mind felt foggy. When I said I needed rest, she didn't understand. She'd say, "We don't have forever. We should be living." And slowly I started feeling guilty for being tired. Guilty for being old. The hidden cost. Then came something people rarely talk about: money. I had spent decades saving carefully. Living within limits. Preparing for the future. But this new life? It was expensive. Dinners. Trips. Events. After a few months, I checked my savings and felt fear. Real fear. I wasn't just spending money, I was spending security. When I tried to talk about it, she brushed it off. "You can't take it with you," she said. But it wasn't about money. It was about stability. About knowing I wouldn't become a burden someday. The breaking point. 8 months in, something shifted. One morning, I walked into my kitchen at 6 a.m., my quiet time. But it wasn't quiet anymore. The radio was loud. Dishes were clattering. She was talking, fast, nonstop. I stood there holding my coffee, and suddenly, I didn't recognize my own home. It didn't feel like mine anymore. And in that moment, I realized something painful. In trying not to be alone, I had lost myself. Choosing peace again. 2 days later I ended it. It wasn't easy. There were tears. Arguments. Warnings. "You'll regret this," she said. "You'll end up alone." Maybe she was right. But when she left, I turned off the noise. Sat in my old chair. And let the silence return. And it felt beautiful. What I learned at 78. It's been 5 years since then. And here's what I've learned. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is peace. You can be with someone and feel completely alone. Or you can be by yourself and feel full. At this age, peace is everything. More valuable than excitement. More important than validation. Because when you invite someone into your life, you also invite their chaos. And not everyone has the energy to carry that. So if you're watching this, and you feel pressure to find someone, to not be alone, let me tell you something honestly. You are not incomplete. You are not broken. And you don't need to fill your life with noise just to escape the quiet. Because sometimes, the quiet is where you finally meet yourself. And I've discovered something at 78 that took me a lifetime to learn. I'm actually pretty good company. If this story meant something to you, if you understand the beauty of a peaceful life, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, do you value solitude, or are you still searching for something more? Let's talk.